Thank you for staying with us on the show. Right now, the conversation is on FAAC allocation and impact on states. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his inaugural speech in 2023, made a bold statement saying that subsidy is gone, and that, of course, generated a lot of reactions. It increased the rate of inflation in the country, as well as the cost of living. But for the subnationals, states, local government, it was a blessing in disguise for them as they start getting more allocations, getting more resources, and many of them can now pay salaries, and of course they're taking less of loans. But at the subnational level, people are questioning governors, their local government chairmen are saying that they are not really feeling the impact of the increase in their allocation. So where exactly do we stand today in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure at the subnational level? We'll be having this conversation with Olusesan Okunade, Policy Affairs Analyst. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good morning, Jibola, and good morning, Jibola.
Thank you.
Good morning to all of you.
In 2023, like I mentioned earlier, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made that bold statement saying that subsidy is gone, and that generated a lot of reactions. But for the state governors, for the local government chairman, they were very happy because they are getting more money. But when you put the two side by side today, we are not really feeling the impact of these huge resources in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development, and poverty seems to be increasing at this level of governance. So what do you make of all this situation, increase in FAAC allocation, and the fact that we are not feeling the impact at the subnational level?
Okay, thank you very much, Jibola, for that question. Permit me to start this way, that the statement by Mr. President was what some of us have actually been advocating for. Remember, during the last administration, so much was paid on subsidy, and we asked ourselves, who are actually the people that are benefiting from the subsidy? A lot of countries around us were actually the major beneficiary because of the cost of that particular thing. So when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, he removed the subsidy without anything. But few of us actually questioned what were actually the preparation to give us safe landing, because we're actually thinking that there will be provision for the refineries that can augment, government revenue and relieve the burden of the people. But be it as it may, looking at the focal point of Mr. President of decentralizing things to subnationals and the local government, part of the things he did was to empower the state government with more revenue. He was able to sign into law the autonomy of the local government,
which is yet to fully take.
I keep saying it, Bimbola, most of our problem is not policy. It's always implementation. Because you ask yourself that if the autonomy of the local government has been implemented, as we speak, a lot of funds that the local government should be using to enhance projects would definitely impact on the common people. The vision of our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was, to me, the direction at which we need to go. Because a lot of people look at the center always. And the major body rely more on the state and the local government being the grassroots at which some of those things must actually happen. But like Jibola has said, increase in FAAC allocation, but do we have commensurate impact on the citizen? I would say no. Why? You tend to see more of recurrent expenditure outweighing the current expenditure. And when issues like that happen, it has its own negative impact, because capital expenditure entails you having major projects, talked about infrastructure, which I can pinpoint few states across the Federation that is actually doing that. Take, for example, Lagos State is able to have an increase in its IGR, increase in FAAC allocation, and be able to channel some to transportation. When you look at the team agenda, transportation tends to be, the major area where we do. Because when there is serious struggle in moving things or goods around, it becomes so much burden. We're able to have the rail line I think we started with the blue, the
It's
red,
red, yeah.
coming on board. And those are benefits of what this revenue has been. And I'll go to the southeast. You see a state like Abia, you go to an average person from that state, they will tell you physical infrastructure that impact on the common man in that state. The southeast, for the business like which they are known for, Abia, the Onitsha and the likes, is been able to make the environment business like and impact on the common man. Same thing in Enugu. It's been able to digitalize some of those infrastructure that they have in there. And same when you go to the north. But by and large, not all the state government, as we speak, is actually investing in capital projects that can impact on the common man. Right. I always make Lagos as a reference point. During this rainy season, I would say in the last 2-3 years, we've been seeing the impact of road construction. Road rehabilitation, not construction now. Road rehabilitation, field one. But there's always a question I ask. Why do we do that on a yearly basis when there is rain? I feel there should still be more of monitoring so that you can invest at once and know that that is gone and divert those other funds that will be coming
sectors.
to other things that can be. But it's not been the balanced thing. And I'll say, because there has not been proper monitoring of some of these activities or funds that are disbursed to the state. So we discovered that it is what the governor chooses to do with the money that will definitely, whether it will impact on us or not. But some states has actually identified and stand out with some capital project that can impact on you and I. You can imagine the road structure where we have more BRT being brought into base. People can now leave their vehicle at home, join BRT and make things, join the rail system. I know what the rail is bringing from Okoko to Island on daily basis. Right. You can imagine if people are using those things, their vehicles to be on the road. You are reducing the pressure on the road and make those things happen. But not all states can we boast of this impact when it comes to it. And that's why we see a lot of them tending to be more to the urban area like Lagos, like Kano, Port Harcourt, because I think that's where visibility of some of these funds are.
Right. Sheson, let's look at, we know that on a monthly basis, give or take, FAAC will deliver. And of course, the subnationals also look forward to these monies coming in from FAAC. In your own opinion, we know that, yes, they're getting more money. But if you look at the flip side of this, isn't this also enabling the states to lag behind in their own quest for personal development and fiscal reforms, rather than continuing to wait on what the FAAC will bring to the state every month?
It shouldn't, it shouldn't, but a lot of states tends to rely on this. And I will tell you that some states have not looked the area of FAAC allocation to reduce what the fiscal arrangement should be. They've intensified more on it. I will continue to make Lagos a reference point.
Absolutely.
The Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, as we speak, I was in a conversation in a program where the governor too was in attendance, and all the 37 executive chairman was also at that program. And the governor was able to make bold of some of the achievements that LRS have actually done. Don't forget, as we speak, they've consolidated the revenue collection in Lagos State. We now have Revenue House. And what that speaks to is some of the things they are doing at the national, to streamline and avoid double taxation or over levying. So what the directorate is already doing in terms of revenue, you don't go the other route to carry out some of those things. And they've been able to increase their baseline to trillions to support the FAAC allocation that is coming from the state. But if you ask me, are we getting same from the other state as expected? Maybe few are actually tolling the line of Lagos. But the fact remains that you don't expect your IGR to grow if those capital infrastructure or capital projects are not embarked upon.
Absolutely.
Take, for example, every state in Nigeria, I keep saying it, has their own strength. If you go to the north, They are predominantly known for agricultural produce. How much are you able to, capitalize on the vast land that you have, synergized with some states in, coming together to say, we want to do this. If I make available this agricultural produce, you will be the off-taker because I know you can consume. Well, you remember when Lagos was having an handshake with Kebbi State to have lake rice. You understand? That is something I was actually expecting from state governor. I asked myself, the NEC meeting that is being organized on a monthly basis, where all the state governors, what are you actually discussing? Right. I should be able to explain to you my strength, and you be able to tell me area where we can synergize and improve on delivery. Because what that does is, if you are producing this agricultural produce from the north, and I'm available as an off-taker because I have the people that can afford and consume it, what you'll be doing is you are creating employment in your state. Absolutely. And you are reducing the level of insecurity that is expected to happen because you can now create more of some of those things. Before you know it, you will satisfy other states with some of the produce you have and be able to export some of those things and be able to generate more revenue. But I have not seen that synergy among the states, and that's what we are lacking. Everybody seems to be working in silo. Right. Let me just do mine. I keep telling the individual, the relationship between Lagos and Ogun has been working fine. Like I tell certain people, in the next 5 years, you won't be able to distinguish between Lagos and Ogun State. Right. Because more than 40% of the people that work in Lagos now reside in Ogun. And what are the things? I'm looking at situation where we can have a rail system that moves people from island, to where we call Third Lagos. The Mowe, the Bafo, the Arepo. Even we've had the one that goes through from Agege to Abeokuta to Ibadan. That's a development. Let's look at the one that can come in to Ibafo to Mowe. Then you can reduce the pressure that you have on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Most of the time when there are even accidents. These are things I expect. As more revenue are coming, there must be creativity and relationship between states. Capitalizing on your strength to see how you can prevail and maximize it to your opportunity. Absolutely. Lagos cannot come to tell us that we can do well in agricultural produce compared to the northern region because we are surrounded by water. But we can create room, and we have some states. It is not about agricultural produce; it's about tourism. Yeah. When you go to state like Bauchi State, well, I was in Ilara Mokinfiu like a month ago, and I look at the vast mountain, and I'm like, this is what we travel to pay for. Right. They will come in with rails. They will come in with these monorails, cable cars, and all those. And people are looking at, and we are not just lashing our nets. That's enough tourism that should generate revenue for Ondo State, where they can have synergy with Lagos, where people want to relax. But what we went there for was just to go enjoy golfing circle at Elizade, the Smoking Hill golf course, and I'm like, you go outside the shore of the country and you pay so much. This when we can develop ours. Right. And I expect that most of this revenue that is now coming to the state, they can deploy into having a good handshake. We've heard about some results even in the southwest here. Let's see how we can, within our region, I may not need to travel to Yankari in Bauchi. I can look at my region and see how much I can explore within your region, rather than traveling. Everybody wants to travel to UK, everybody wants to travel to US for their vacation. But we have a lot. Look at the Ikogusi, where you have the how much of that do we have outside? Right. People pay so much dollar. You can even ease the burden on foreign exchange. Because what you actually be doing is that we are still using our Naira to, promote our business and enjoy. So I feel that the governors, when they go for their meeting, it should be more of collaboration, synergized on how I have more funds now. What advantage can I have that from other states can benefit from and plug in for their own? All right,
Jibola, let me quickly hold your thoughts, Jibola. We need to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation continues.
Look at me, man. This is your 100% in my year.
Babes, are you sure you want to spend this much on hair? Didn't your landlord just increase rent?
I saved for this one separately on Money Point.
Man, you say you save on money points?
Yes.
This madam money points here. The array of your dryer there is target savings money points I used to have it. The rest of this my sub is fees savings money points I used to do it. The salary of this my staff is save as you transact, son.
Jennifer, money point save as you transact. Money point fixed savings and money point target savings.
Why did German won't contribute to it? Why should they? Come on, oh, you go give your money to Hadaku to save. You see money points accounts there. You no go open a savings account. Now Hadaku you choose. I beg everybody inside this my saloon. Oh, yeah, bring out your phone and download the money points app now. Even you. What are you waiting for?
Download the Money Point banking app now and start saving with the bank you can trust.
Money Point, made for your progress.
Thank you for staying tuned. There's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Of course, we still have our guest in the studio this morning, Olusesan Okunade, and of course, together we're taking a look at FAAC allocation and impact on state. And Ajibola was going to ask you a question before we went on that break. Ajibola.
Okay, Abimbola, looking at the figures of what these three tiers of government have shared for a couple of months, it is mind-boggling when you look at the figures in the region of 3 trillion, 2.36 trillion for March, 2.3 trillion for May, and then 2.57 trillion for April. And yet, in terms of development, we cannot really see what those governors or local government chairmen are doing with the allocations that they are getting. So would you suggest that the sharing formula be reviewed, be improved, or it should stay the way it is? Because some of these people, they have been prodigal with what they are getting, and the people are still questioning the federal government that the federal government is doing enough, whereas the federal government is doing what it ought to do, saving money from the subsidy removal and giving it to state and local government to transform the lives of their people.
Jibola, for me, the sharing formula can still hold. It's high time people ask questions. You know, a lot of things goes on the social media, but you ask yourself how much of it impacts on every citizen of a particular state.
Right.
You should be able to ask your local government question. If they are not giving response, you have objectively a platform at which you can bring some of these things out. I don't want to stand in for them, but as a finance person, I know that the billions of years back compared to the trillions of today are not commensurate. Why? A lot of the things that we are actually doing, we are not domesticating it. We rely so much on foreign exchange. I'm sure you know the goods that are actually being sold at by foreign manufacturers, some of those things still remain the same price. A lot of people will tell you that the vehicle that they bought, like 5 years ago,
Right.
is still the same $12,000. But by the time you convert it to naira, that same $12,000, few years back when dollar was 150 to 200 or even 400, was as less than 4 or 5 million. But as we speak now, that same $12, the manufacturer has actually not increased anything.
Right, but
it's
the
still the
exchange
same rate,
rate.
but the exchange rate has actually moved it from about 4 million to close to like 12 or even 14 million. And that's part of the things a lot of us are saying that, okay, the government should look at area of more, or being more productive, so that we can domesticate a lot of things. I was listening to the Minister of Solid Mineral Resources, Ondile Alaki, yesterday at a meeting that they had, I think at Morocco. And they were talking at how can we start refining and processing some of the natural resources that we have. If not for the intervention of someone like Dangote, I'm sure you can imagine what the cost of petroleum will be as we speak. But be it that it's me, a lot of us are still faulting the mechanism to say, yes, it came to our intervention. How much of other refineries have we been able? Because competition play a major role in this game that we're talking about. As we speak, is the major and the sole supply of that particular thing, and is allowed to enjoy the monopoly of that particular thing as we speak. But what is the government doing? A lot of us have asked the question: can we go all out to make sure that the refinery is actually concession or sold to private sector?
Right.
Make use of the infrastructure to develop, and be a competitor.
Right.
So what we might be having on the long run is that maybe few or 2 or 3 of them will meet the local demand, and we have some of them exporting to other countries
right.
to earn more revenue to the government. Those are areas I feel the Lagos Electricity Act that was enacted by this administration in 2013. How much have we utilized it? I'm sure you know the role power play,
right.
In the development of our economy. Mr. President signed that into law so that the state can be empowered to actually provide electricity for the people. But how much have we tapped into it? What are the mechanisms that's actually been put together? A lot of people have said you can start. Lagos State started by having stake with Ikeja and Eco Electricity to see how they can harmonize and provide that. We can start looking at how we can look at the bottom line, which is the distribution arm.
Right.
Lot of cobwebs, and I'm putting it before Lagos State today. We always lead while other state follows. We can have a sinner climb with our electricity connectivity in Lagos. That will give enough confidence and boost. We can start looking at that area. Electricity people wants to go and carry out maintenance. In some area, they cannot even trace the cable, which they actually want to do. Right. You are moving around. It defies the mega city that we are talking of about Lagos.
Okay.
And I look at that other states can look in that area. Even if you cannot generate as you speak, that particular one that is actually being allocated to your state, you can distribute effectively, get the revenue, because that's another gap that is there. There is no, the revenue gap on behalf of some of these discos is there because the environment is not tidy enough for you to carry out those things and invest more, even in the tool that you use in collecting it, which is meter.
Right. Before we wrap up this conversation this morning, earlier you talked about the fact that we need to start demanding more accountability, especially from the subnationals. So let's look at the role of individuals, organizations. Particularly, I know that budget has tracker. Only yesterday did they also talk about issues around the national budget. And so how do we begin to ensure that there is better accountability on the part of the state, using individuals, using civil society organizations, perhaps also putting the state assemblies on their toes at ensuring that they checkmate their executive as they should?
Yeah, thank you, Bimbola. I want to give kudos to budget, and I wish we have other individuals, organizations that can play the role of investigative journalism. That's what I call them. They take all their time to carry out investigation before they spill it out for conversation. And we can start engaging that at the state level. See how much that we can ask questions. A lot of people as we speak, I inclusive, do we even know what we get from FAAC on monthly basis? There should be transparency enough to talk about, how projects are monitored.
Right.
To see which area are we concentrating on. And I'll go back to that aspect of saying we need to monitor the contractors, the vendors, on the quality of their delivery. It's not good enough that so much millions is spent inconveniencing people at a particular period, and same time next year, you are coming for the same project. At that point in time, there are two things we are missing out. You are not coming at the same rate you did it last year because inflation would have set in and there will be increase in that cost. Why can't you, even if it's going to cost a little more to get a delivery, we always refer to the roads that was built by the likes of our father, Jakonde, Awolowo, in the southwest. What suddenly changed? That our road cannot last as long as 5-10 years. I traveled over the weekend Lagos-Ibadan Express was just again re-awarded by federal government. It's already given way. And I asked, these are major cause of accident. A project that, as at the period when they were doing that project, there were loss of life, loss of productive time on the road. Now we are going back to it and re-awarding it. And that's why government, whether at the federal level, at the state level, at the local government level, there must be effective monitoring of projects to the standard at which is actually specified, not because of anything, but for the benefit of... I keep asking myself that if that project of Lagos-Ibadan Express should start now, you discover that it will impact on travelers.
Absolutely.
It will impact on the cost of logistics. So, Ibadan, possibly they are taking it like 5,000. Once that traffic starts, trust the commuter, the drivers,
commercials.
They move from 5 to 10,000. But you don't blame them because the fuel you're supposed to use for an hour, you are now spending 3 hours. You must recoup back some of those things because of the traffic. So I feel that is another area the government needs to be intentional about, monitoring the project. And for me, when people that are put in charge fail in doing what is expected of them, there must be consequences.
Absolutely.
So that anyone coming to the seat, you can't spend so much to build your house and the contractor failed to do what is right, and you don't sue them or carry out something because it's yours. The project that we are committing in their hands is more or less a project that we entrust in their hands, and they must deliver to quality. And I think that is the gap we are actually experiencing. So much is actually being done, but it seems to be a repetitive thing, year in, year out. We shouldn't be. We should have a lag so that you can use that other period where you have this one already been tidied up, concentrate in other area of development for the people.
All right, I would have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Olusesan Okunade, Policy Affairs Analyst, for finding time to be with us and giving us your expertise on the program this morning.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, Bimba and Giblo.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we return, the conversation continues with Adebimpe on the Lagos conversation.